playing small has far bigger consequences than you think. This month's channeled ascension energies comes with warning signs as our beloved ascension support team cautions us to rise up. For if we don't, we risk malevolent forces filling gaps in consciousness that we're responsible for. Stay tuned. I've got everything you need to know. What's up, beautiful? It's Lisa Roulette, and I'm here to help you heal, navigate your ascension journey, and create a life you love. If you're in the midst of your spiritual awakening on a healing path, or you're learning how to manifest your life experience, you've come to the right place. Returning subscribers, thank you so much for joining me again today. And if you're new here, welcome. This channel is all about awakening to your purpose and your power. Through the awakening journey, we learn and remember who we really are as a direct extension of one source consciousness and a direct connection to all that is. If you haven't already joined us in Lightworkers Lounge, which is a community of starseeds, empaths, and lightworkers, we invite you to join us there, where we are practicing our purpose and our power. And there are a couple of free resources for you in the description of the video below, including a little ebook on the Lightworker Explained and a training called 5 Secrets to Healing and Creating a Life You Love. The 5 Secrets to Healing and Creating a Life You Love is very good for any of you who are experiencing emotional distress or trauma, but also for those of you who are really ready to awaken to your purpose and your power. Without further ado, let's dive into the meat and potatoes of the video, and we're going to begin by talking about or revisiting the idea of what channeling really is. So I know many of you are skeptical about the idea of channeling, and I just wanted to offer you some insight from someone who does channel and who is very confident in her ability to receive non-local information when deemed appropriate by what I call our beloved Ascension support team. So we are an individuated consciousness, and in our individuated consciousness are our thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and feelings. And for those of us who identify as starseeds, empaths, and lightworkers, we can not only be aware of our thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and feelings, but oftentimes we're able to sense other people's thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and feelings. As empaths, starseeds, and lightworkers who have a general ability to access consciousness beyond our individuated consciousness, we are also very likely to develop psychic skills and the ability to channel. Now, channeling is nothing more than accessing non-local consciousness. So what happens when I channel is I get an indication that there are messages for me. So what I do is I go into meditation. And when I go into meditation, I do what I would normally do in a meditation. I slow down my thoughts that are normally racing and fighting for attention. As I slow down my thoughts, I have a sort of parting of the ways where I leave the mental egoic faculty and I open a pathway for other energies to come through. And as these other energies come through, it's what most channels would call a download. Now, I recognize my channeling ability and my downloads because the entities that I channel have a very specific quality about them. They have a sort of personality. And while I can't access them anytime I want, I am called into meditation when they have something for me. And what's developed over the past year or so is that they have set me up to channel on a monthly basis. I do get messages in between, but they're not quite as clear as the ones that I get on a monthly basis. And I don't know if this is just me not being ready to be a channel at all times, or they're tempering my ability to channel. I really don't have an answer for that. But what I can tell you is that if you want to begin to channel, it really just takes slowing down your thoughts and allowing information to come through. Having said that, it is very important as a channel or as you open to channel to set boundaries, because as you open your awareness to non-local consciousness, there are a lot of malevolent forces out there that you don't want penetrating your awareness. And you will typically know, but in my experience, there can be imposter entities that pose as, say, archangels or other benevolent forces that are leading you down the wrong path. So I do encourage you to create boundaries. And I actually did last week an energetic boundary shield meditation for you. So I encourage you before you channel to make sure that you have your boundaries in place so that you're not really getting just psychic attacks and you're getting the energy and the information that is useful to you and of your highest good. Now let's dive into the channel messages delivered for you. So these messages did come with warnings, and the warning is that you're not living up to your highest potential. And in order to live up to your highest potential, you need to recognize your purpose and your power. This is something that I talk about all the time, and the sole reason I developed a course to help you understand your purpose and your power. Your purpose is to create, and you create with your consciousness. So your consciousness is your power. Consciousness illuminates things. So essentially, it is the light of your consciousness that gives you the power to create the experience. And many of you are still residing at lower levels of consciousness, living through the wounded awareness that is created from the traumas and the dramas of your life experience. Having said that, you're not alone in living through this wounded awareness. This is a human condition, and it's very normal and really natural. The primary wound and trauma that we all suffer together is the wound of separation, where we forget who we really are as a direct extension of one source consciousness and a direct connection to one another. So what ends up happening with that one primal wound, a tree of wounds start to develop from a very early age via the traumas and the dramas of our experience. And so we root our consciousness in the traumas and dramas instead of in creation, okay? Because your purpose is to create, and the awareness is supposed to be rooted in creation, not in wounds that are created from traumas and dramas. So part of what you are here to do is to heal the wounds, heal the traumas, heal the dramas, because as you do, you expand your awareness. You lift your consciousness. And as you lift your consciousness, you take the pain that comes with the trauma and the drama and you turn it into purpose. Now, I'm not suggesting that all of your pain was purposeful. However, I am suggesting that your pain does have purpose. So a lot of what our team is asking us to do now is to take responsibility for the level of consciousness that you're residing in right now, and understand that if you do not intentionally lift your consciousness through healing, which is the transcendent process, where you don't rise above, you create gaps in the collective consciousness, and that collective consciousness always has to be filled. So we risk, when we don't heal and we don't rise above our traumas and our dramas, we risk malevolence filling the gaps. And that's really important to understand and remember, because this is what they mean about you stop playing small. You don't think that you matter as much as you do. You are an integral part to the integrated source field of consciousness. And even though you feel less important than people who seem more important, you're not less important. You are so vital to the overall collective evolution of humanity at this time. You are an integral part of the success of the ascension journey. Just because you stay at home, or you may have a job that doesn't pay you a tremendous amount of money, or you're not a public speaker, or you don't feel like you're healing the world, you are so important. And they tell us that you have to stop playing small. You need to take the reins of the healing journey and really immerse yourself in it, shouldering the responsibility of the journey in order to heal the traumas and dramas and make meaning of your life, because you're not recognizing how meaningful you are now. So they're calling you into your meaning. They're calling you in and say, it's time that you wake up to your meaning. And part of waking up to your meaning is to being in service to yourself first and to others. Understanding your unique, authentic, creative capacity to manifest an experience that sheds light out into the world. And you're not doing that. Not enough of you are doing that. There are so many of you who are going about each day like a rat race on a hamster wheel. Oh, this again and again and again and again. And it's time to rise up and to genuinely fill the gaps by raising your awareness and beginning to look through the lens of creation, not the lens of your wounds. And part of this mission that they are putting you on, that our beloved Ascension support team is putting you on, is a mission toward the frequency of love, but to be careful that you don't fall into the falsity of love and light syndrome. Love and light syndrome is where false positivity reigns and you ignore the oftentimes dramatic and dark forces that fill consciousness gaps. And of course, the dark and difficult parts of our consciousness that comprise our shadows, which is where we really need to heal in order to rise above, to transcend, to expand, and ultimately live out our purpose, using our power, becoming the light that illuminates the new earth, because you're creating that. And if you don't feel like you're creating that, you need to step into the creative power you have to participate in that. And that's what they're calling you to do. That is what they are calling you to do. And I know for some of you, it seems sort of unbelievable that you would be listening to this right now. But if you are listening to this right now, this message is for you. And most of you are going to achieve this. You are going to achieve this healing and this transcendence and this expansion through filling what would be recognized as a warrior archetype. But we're not entering a war of bloodshed. This is a war over consciousness, whereby you believe in your truth. Your truth comes through the traumas and the dramas. Your truth comes through the pain that you've endured. But rather than project your consciousness through the pain you've endured, you instead can project it through your truth. And as you begin to project your consciousness through your truth, you become that light. And you illuminate the path for those that are not strong enough to be a warrior. For those that are not strong enough to really expand and understand why they're here. You are ready for this. You are genuinely ready for your expansion. You are ready for the next step on the ascension path, but you have to stop playing small. And remember, when you play small and you don't give yourself the meaning and the credit that you deserve as an integral part of the intricately interwoven source field of consciousness, you create gaps in that field where malevolent forces can come through. So do you see how important it is to step into the warrior archetype? To step into the truth that comes through the wounds, and to stop living through the wounded awareness, but instead through the authentic truth that is evolving in you now. Really big message this month. Powerful message. You have significantly more meaning than you think you have. And we want you to rise up. We want you to expand. We want you to evolve. And we want you to become the light force that you are, because that is what you are. Your life work is your light work, and that comes by giving yourself meaning, by giving yourself the time and attention that you deserve to heal, to understand yourself as consciousness, to understand yourself not just as the human being, but the human becoming. That's a wrap for this video, my friends. As always, stay in the luminosity of your beautiful light and never forget, you are loved.